My warning to everyone. Never click on unknown links on the internet. It might not only be an adult site or a virus, but something weirder. This happened sometime in the middle of October. I was sitting on YouTube and bored, leafing through endless videos on scary topics. At the time, I was heavily into the topic of various death files, and was looking at any information related to them. What better way to excite a bored guy at night? Only the well-forgotten old stuff. At one time there was a very popular story about Pinocchio the Stickman, a monster captured on a video called Station 922.mkv, so I was digging around that night, hoping to find the original file. A few photos can still be found online. They are mesmerizing. After a few hours of trying, I found one of the simple videos with a reenactment of the events with a link to the site in the description. I was very interested in it, because at the time of viewing the video was posted about a week ago. I could smell fresh information. I clicked on the link and found myself on a page consisting of a white background and one phrase, 82 days, 13 knocks at your door.
Look who I am.
Literally immediately, the knocks 1382 MACV file was downloaded to my computer. Once downloaded, my media player opened, and the video immediately turned on. It showed a stairwell, a simple stairwell. The view was from the top. From one of the corners, an elevator was visible next to it. There was no sound. The video went on for about 5 minutes, no more, but I was gripped with fear from the first seconds. I tried to close the player, but it froze and wouldn't close. I started to panic from the strange behavior of the computer, but after a minute I calmed down, thinking it was someone's evil joke or a virus. At the last minute the video changed. A person appeared in the stairwell. A middle-aged man who knocked on someone's door and stood in front of it. He was dressed in something brown, like he was wearing a brown leather jacket and brown boots. His appearance was poorly discernible due to the quality of the file, but he looked unkempt. The video ended with him looking sharply at the camera and walking through the apartment door. This really freaked me out. I successfully closed the video and deleted the file, watched a couple of funny cuts to calm myself down and went to bed. That same night I woke up to a knock on my door. I opened my eyes and looked at the clock on my phone. It was the 3rd hour. I was frozen in bed, afraid to move, and listening to the sounds. There was another knock. Then it got very quiet. I stayed in bed without sleeping until sunrise. The next night there was another knock, and this time I got up carefully, turned on the flashlight on my phone, picked up the knife I had left next to me, and walked quietly to the door. My door peephole was covered by a metal washer on a nail, so I didn't dare look through it. Never look through a door peephole at night. In many stories it can turn out to be a mistake. I turned off the flashlight, stood near the door, and started listening. It was very quiet. I figured my unknown guest had already left, but suddenly there was a pounding on the door right in my ear. I dumbfounded stepped away from the door, and very quietly heard something along the lines of, "I'm here, open up. You invited me." I almost had a stroke. My eyes glistened, my head felt heavy, and my legs felt weak. I slid gently down the wall, and unable to stand it, cried, but I didn't look through the peephole. I stayed asleep right next to the door, if it could be called sleep. Then I had 2 more knocks in a week, then another one in 15 days. Each time I woke up in a cold sweat, and could not fall asleep. I began to have trouble sleeping. I began to see dark silhouettes, and I entered the entrance only with neighbors. I was very much afraid that after 13 knocks, I would hear footsteps in my corridor. I did not know what to do with it. At the beginning of January, I was knocked for the last time. I suffered 8 nights in total. 13 times the man in the video asked to see me. I know it. I felt it well, but I don't know what would have happened to me. If I had looked through the peephole, if I had seen him through the small opening in the saving boundary between the nighttime entryway and my apartment, would I have been able to write it all here? It was a horrible experience, and I strongly hope it has come to an end. I've met the conditions. There are no death files, but there is something that can dramatically change your life if you search for it with purpose. Hello. A story happened to me a year ago. I got up at 7 o'clock in the morning. It was summer vacation. I took my flash player and turned on the album Music for the Masses. Sitting down at my desk, I turned on the system box. After the desktop loaded, I launched Opera. I logged onto yet another social networking site and started spamming porn since I work part-time. But I was not only a spammer, but also a troll, so I enjoyed spewing all the shit that social network users spewed. So I started scrolling through the spam pages. The moderator was still asleep. Among other messages like "Die Spammer," I found a message from what seemed to me to be another spammer. I clicked on the link he gave, and the file started downloading. It was a file called requis.zip. Inside I found mostly the usual viruses, of various versions. I figured that this archive was created to create an antivirus database for some antivirus program, but then I looked at the size of the file. It weighed as much as 100 MB, and despite the slow speed of my internet, it downloaded in seconds. I couldn't believe that a couple of simple viruses could weigh so much. There were only 20 files in the archive, although there were some pretty big ones among them. But among the common viruses, I found a file with the same name as the archive. It weighed 90 MB in DOF-CIV format. I decided to open it. For about 10 minutes the screen went out. But then the computer restarted. The desktop loaded. The shortcuts, files and folders had no icons or names. There was no wallpaper. I paused the player, then turned on Windows Media Player. There was no sound at all. I got the feeling that the sound driver was broken. It seemed like a common virus. But no, not a single program except Explorer didn't start. Windows Media Player crashed. A readme.txt file appeared on the desktop. I opened it. There was written a lot of randomly spaced letters. The only block of text I remembered contained the repetitive Ouyerezark. I thought it said Ouyerezark, but I didn't understand what it meant. Explorer showed that there were no hard disks at all. Task Manager didn't show any processes, as if they didn't exist. Not knowing what to do, I restarted the computer. After restarting, everything was the same. But then a video called reqyz, the same file that caused my computer to restart, opened. It was taken as if from a man's eyes. The video was high quality. The man was walking through a snowy city. He was breathing heavily. You could hear the sounds. Barely walking. It was daytime. Not once in the video could the man be seen. At this point my legs ached, as if I had walked several thousand kilometers. My heart began to race. My throat ached. I had snot coming out of my nose. I got the feeling that I was the man in the video, and I was now walking through a deserted city in winter. Suddenly the man in the video fell down. My heart started beating hard. My eyes started getting dark. I had a feeling that I was dead. Every night I keep having the same dream, that I'm walking through a snowy city, and then I die. Every dream I can't control myself. The doctors don't help me.